So there's a concept in marketing called time bias, and the vast majority of marketers either completely overlook this or have just never been taught it. And it's a huge factor when you're selling to wealthier markets. So I'm going to be breaking this down for you on my iPad here. This is going to be like a very raw style video. So hopefully you have the attention span to stick with me. I'm going to be doing this like it's training for a one-on-one client. And yeah, hopefully you get a ton of value. Let's dive in. All right, so to be able to explain this properly, let me first run you through like the more average funnel, right? So what you're gonna generally have is an ad. This is about 30 seconds to get them introduced to the concept. Then they're gonna go to a landing page. It's gonna have a headline, it's gonna have a VSL video, and then a booking link. They're gonna book, then they're gonna go to a thank you page, which is gonna have more videos. It's gonna have what are called breakout videos, which cover specific questions, and then obviously a main video, which is gonna kind of overview everything in the offer. Then, in between their call and the thank you page, they're going to get hit by nurturing content. This can be on Facebook or Instagram. This can be through emails, SMS, generally all of them. And then they're going to get on a call with somebody, a salesperson. They're going to sell them, and then that's where the money comes through. And the reason we normally structure this way for the average person is because a lot of people are going to not be super sophisticated, right? And so they do not know already what needs to be asked. The reason that you need to go through this sales process and give them a bunch of content and educate them is because they know conceptually, like, hey, here's the sort of bubble of an idea I want. But then what we're going to do is we're going to break down, hey, here's checkbox 1, here's checkbox 2, checkbox 3, checkbox 4, right? These are the 4 things you need and, product or service to make sure that it works well for you. And then on our sale, we're going to check each of those. And then because they're made aware of what they need to know and what they need to look for, and then we check those, now they have enough certainty to transact, right? Whereas with richer people, it's a little bit different, especially if they're more sophisticated. Instead of having to be given, like having a conceptual idea and having to be given like those specifics, normally they're going to have their already pre-built criteria, right? Hey, here are the 4 things I care about, right? And those criteria, because for the most part, right, they don't need to be educated and taken through this long process. If we force them through this, it's very common for them to drop off. You start to lose your wealthier buyers because 1, it's just redundant, so it's boring for them, and 2, they're generally more busy, so they have less time, right? So the workaround for this, because we don't want to just lose our normal funnel structure and just shortcut everything, because then we lose a lot of our average buyers. To make sure we make the most of our highest level buyers, we do something conditional with our form, right? The more you watch me, the more you're going to learn. I really, really leverage our forms. And it's normally going to be in the first question we ask. So the first question we ask is what we call like a categorization. I'm just going to do cat question to make this easy so I'm not writing too much. So in our categorization question, I'll give you a couple of examples of what this might look like. Let's say we're doing agency services, right? Let's say we're talking to realtors. Then we're gonna have, hey, how many deals have you averaged per month the last 6 months, right? And we might have 0 to 1. Then we'll have 2 to 4, and then we're gonna have 4 to 6, and so on and so forth. Then I'll give you another example. Let's say it's like an investing offer. It's like, how many properties do you currently have, right? 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 5, right? And what we're basically doing is this categorization question is going to tell us, hey, how should we message this person? So it's not only valuable because, for example, with our nurturing stuff, we're going to send different nurturing to the 0 to 1 person than we're going to send to the 4 to 6 person because they have different questions, right? But on top of that, we've added an extra step recently, which has been an absolute night and day game changer for the people that are in the sort of highest level of sophistication. So also most likely the wealthiest. Instead of forcing them to go through all of this nurturing, right? And because normally we'd force them to spend a couple of days consuming content, getting emails before they speak to the salesperson. Instead, because they already have these preset criteria, instead of making them go through and consume a bunch of information that may be irrelevant to them, as soon as that form is submitted, it triggers basically an iMessage, and this is going to be an attempt at an iMessage bubble, which is terrible. But it's basically going to send them an iMessage, and this can either be from a live setter or what we use, which is AI agents, which have been trained on our entire backend. So it knows our pricing, it knows our exact offers, it knows our different packages, and only right? We'd send reminders to everybody else, but only to this highest level of person. We're going to give them like a shortcut, right? And we're basically going to message them and say, hey, saw you own multiple properties, or hey, saw you're closing a good number of deals. I just wanted to reach out to you directly because I'm sure you have very specific questions on exactly what we do and how we do it. I'm more than happy to answer these over text just to save you some time, right? And I find the rich people eat that up. They love it because the vast majority of time, people will lose a bunch of deals because they're forced, right? They have no option but to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 barriers to be able to transact and make a decision, right? When in reality, they might only need one, two, three, four questions answered, right? And because they're more sophisticated overall and they understand the overarching of everything significantly better, they've seen way more other products in the market. They're just way more aware across the board. A lot of this stuff up here is very redundant for them, right? And so through iMessage, right, whether it's an actual setter or an AI setter, we're able to very personalized answer their specific questions, and we hold nothing back, right? If they're wealthier, right, we see, hey, this is a more sophisticated person. If they ask pricing, we'll give it to them. If they ask, what are the exact deliverables, we'll give it to them. We're not worried about overly trying to sell and frame everything to them because most of the time they've seen the other options out there and they already have that comparison frame. Whereas with a less sophisticated person, if you just say, hey, yeah, the program's $8,000, $10,000 upfront, they freak out and you need to contextualize it based on the value they're getting. With these wealthier people, that's generally less important, right? Because they are, for example, myself, when I go into a call, I've already made the decision of, hey, do I want to purchase or not, right? And so we're just giving them the ability to shortcut and get straight to the questions they want to ask, because oftentimes they don't need everything framed and laid out for them as much. Um, we're getting straight to the questions they want to ask. They're answered efficiently within 5 to 10 minutes while the motivation and emotion of I want to just get this done is there. And then when we like the AI, generally after 4 to 5 questions are answered, or if it's picking up that, they're like, hey, my questions are answered, then it's going to say, hey, would you like to speak with a person, basically one of our reps right now? We could reach out to you and go through, answer any last questions and help you get set up with this if you'd like, right? Or would you like to wait for your scheduled time? And often, I'd say maybe like 30% of the time, we'll have the person be like, yeah, that would be great. And those are generally very lay down sales, right? They get on the phone with someone, right? And they're able to boom, get everything checked off. They're able to get all their questions answered, and then basically just moved all the way across the line to a closed deal. And the really cool thing is that cash conversion cycle can happen in like 30 minutes or less. And people that might have no-showed because they're busy, people that might have found an alternative, we're able to really speed up the process in terms of getting these people across the line. They also are generally wealthier, right? Obviously, we only do this with the wealthier clients based on their form answers. And this means we're able to just pull these wealthier clients across the line with a sales process they're also not used to going through. And so the whole point of this is you're not just deleting your old funnel, right? This sales process is not necessarily the best sales process for everybody to go through. But the thing I like to basically hammer home with, offer owners that reach out to me, large businesses that want my help, and then people that pay me for like my one-on-one help is you want to personalize the process as much as possible to every type of buyer, right? And so that's why I'm so gung ho about basically the way I set up my forms and the data I send back to the Pixel and all of this, right? We have separate pre-nurturing sequence, separate sales call processes, everything depending on what category they fall into. Now, we don't want to over categorize and then that just adds inefficiencies, right? But if you're having people come in that are more of like a biz op style person, like a beginner to something, versus someone who's been doing this for a long time, if you try and sell to them the same way, you're going to lose both of them. And that's why we segment, right? And we have these different processes for different people. And so the number one takeaway is not, hey, change everything here. It's just add this in. It's so simple too. It's an automation. It's a single automation. I use Cortana. That's what I use for the AI agents we use to reach out. You can also just use a human setter. But you can basically set it up so that if someone answers the form that way, they can still go through the rest of the funnel if they want to, the traditional way. But they're going to get an iMessage, right? And it's going to make them feel a little bit special. It's like, hey, I saw blank, referring to what they submitted on the form, right? And because of that, I figured that you had some very specific questions. I just wanted to give you a super easy way to answer those and emphasize without you having to spend a bunch of time watching videos and going back and forth. And I guarantee you, the rapport built there with the rich person by itself is already worth it. But then, because you're able to ride that momentum, you're going to be able to pull across so many extra deals that you would have otherwise lost. Now, that about sums up that strategy for now. I hope you got a bunch of value from that. If you are either one, trying to implement this and you're just a little bit lost, or you just want to have this built out for you, there's going to be a calendar below. You can book in to speak with me directly. Right? I build these out for really large businesses in a bunch of different industries. They're very effective. And if you just want it done correct the first time, then that's what I'm here for. If not, and you want to just kind of implement this yourself, that's also exactly why I'm making these videos for you. So I hope you got a ton of value. If you want to speak with me, book below. If you want to watch more videos like this, I'm going to right around here, link them, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.